Welcome to the Unheard Cries of a Mother podcast, where we dive into the raw, unfiltered stories of motherhood, the joys, the struggle, the sacrifices, and the triumphs. Here, we amplify voices that too often go unheard, shining the light on the incredible strength, resilience, and love of mothers around the world. I'm your host, Sabrina Ben Salmi, and I invite you to join us in this to uncover stories behind the smiles, share lessons learned, and create a community that uplifts, supports, and inspires. Let's honor the unheard cries and celebrate the silent victories of motherhood. And today, Zilpah, I really want to thank you for joining me in this space. You are the mother of the incredible Shanariha. I'm blown away by everything that's going on in your world. So viewers, please check out their socials. We will tag them in the description. They're doing some incredible work. But thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So it's just going to be two mothers having a conversation. So, no pressure. We're just going to share aspects of our journey. So I'm going to jump right into my first question. The first question is, can you share a pivotal moment in your motherhood journey that shaped who you are today?
Oh, I didn't expect that. What should I say? My motherhood journey that shaped me. Hmm. I don't know. There's so many things, but I'd say um, when my daughter became a public figure. Yeah. Why I'd say that is because initially, it was just us in the house and she was doing her own thing. But when she became known to the public, there was so much uh, reactions from a lot of people, and both positive and both negative. And when you realize you don't have control over what people say or think about your child, then you become really confused and sometimes overprotective. And I think that is what shaped me because I knew, like, at this moment moving forward, I need to be her anchor.
Wow.
Yes. I'd say that, like, I know different probably scenarios, but this particular one really made me very involved, very overprotective, and very, I don't know, I'd just say, like, focused and attentive over anything and everything that she says, she does, and generally how she presents herself out to the public. Yes.
Wow. And it makes sense, like as a mother, how that would shape you. And I love the way you describe that you became an anchor. As
Yeah.
mothers, we pretty much are that. And the protective essence is part of what we have to do. We become the lioness to protect our
Yes.
cubs. We really, really do. So, thank you for sharing that. But it makes so much sense, going from somewhat, living your life in private to all of a sudden she's a public figure and
Yeah.
everything changes. Like you said, it's both negative and positive comments. And it
Yeah.
is confusing for a mother, incredibly confusing, because it just
Yeah.
changes the dynamics, the perimeters of how you now mother your child with
Yes.
everybody else having to comment about it. So, yeah, hats off to you. Um,
Yeah.
my next question is, what's one part of your story that you feel has gone unheard or unacknowledged?
Um, I'd say not necessarily myself, but a lot of mothers is what we do or what we are in our homes. A lot of that is really underestimated, I'd say. And the kind of work that we put in to make a lot of stability happen in these particular homes, or even just raising your children. And it's not even raising your children. I believe we also raise our spouses. Honestly speaking, I believe that. And how much is expected of us is basically, it's not talked about, but it's really
Mm.
underestimated. Yeah.
Do you know,
Yeah.
as you were speaking, it dawned on me, not dawned, it just dropped into my spirit that the way you said that, we both chuckled, but it's emotionally taxing in that how much emotions that a mother has to carry to manage and support the family. Because yes, we will love on our babies and our children, you know, as they grow, but the reality is we are facilitating, you know, we're the helper to our spouses, and I don't think people really understand that. So I think you're quite right. You know, when we say that, we laugh about it, but like on a serious note, people don't underestimate what that is and what it takes, because you
And
know
it is a lot. It is a lot, especially even when things are probably sometimes are not going right in the house. But as a mother, you put in a face in front of your kids to believe that everything is well. The other side is not really necessarily, I don't think they take it as their responsibility, especially men, to actually put in a face in front of the children that things are fine, because I don't know if it's like all over the world or rather with African men, but it's very different. But the kind of emotional burden or emotional work that we do to keep everything balanced at home is crazy.
Yeah. No, I think it varies. I think you're quite right saying it's slightly different, but I think around the world, women, mothers can resonate with what you're saying, because they, you know, there is a different, and it depends on the mother, it depends on the father, but it is different from home to home how we transmit that to our children. But the emotional strain and burden that a mother has to actually carry the entire household, irrespective of what's going on, you're quite right. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Really, really useful. So it's a really fruitful answer, and I think the essence is that the platform brings these discussions to the forefronts of other mothers, so mothers don't feel like they're alone, you know, thinking, oh, it's just me going through this, or this just happens to me. When we realize, we go, oh wow, it's not just me, I can listen to other people's stories and draw some wisdom. So thank you for that. My next question is, how has motherhood challenged your sense of identity?
Um, Motherhood has really taught me so many things. It has taught me how to be brave, how to be very confident, how to be very outspoken, how to be very, just even wisdom and intelligence. And it's because I know I represent a young girl whom I'd want her to see me as a role model. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it has really shaped me in so many ways that um, everything that I do, or everything that I want to do, or I want to say, or whatever I want to think, I have to think about how it's going to reflect on me to her, and how she's going to receive it. Because again, I have a daughter, and she's like, that's my mother. When I grow up, I want to be like my mother. I would love for her to say that someday, for real. So it really shapes, it really designs how I am. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, every time I sit in this seat speaking to a mother, it always feels so emotional. I'm like, oh my God, my eyes start blinking. That is so powerful what you said, because everything we do is for them. But that what you said is like so significant, in that when your child actually says, I want to be like you, like the first
Yeah.
time your child says that, you just surrender. I remember my son in his yearbook when he was leaving Harrow, he said, they asked like who his role model was, and I wasn't expecting it. I just read it. He didn't tell me, and he said, my mother's my role model, and no explanation needed. And that blew me
Yeah.
away. And when you hear your daughters in particular say it, you can't transmit it into words. So you are
You
so,
can't. That is so big.
you
It's so big.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And sometimes you're unaware that they think of it like that, right? Like the way they
Yeah.
glare at you. You know, they'll be your first mentor. They will tell you how to, you know, change things. I think that's amazing. They'll always correct you and bring out the best in you as well. Like our children are constantly watching us. I love what you said, like for her to turn and say, Mom, I really admire you. I'd like to be like you as I grow up. That's just priceless. Absolutely
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my next question is, can you describe a time when you felt completely unseen and unsupported as a mother in any dynamics,
Mm,
or
yes.
mothers in general?
There's so many times, and okay. Can I think of a specific time that maybe makes a lot of sense? Um, Unseen and unsupported as a mother. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't, I can't say because my presence is also very strong. I have a very strong presence in everything and whatever that I do and how I delegate a lot of things around me. But I believe sometimes in most cases, a lot of when things go right, especially with your how your children turn out to be, a lot of accreditation goes to the father. Oh, you did this. That is so amazing. It's like he's the head of the family and he kept everything balanced together. So all the credit goes to him. And I don't, in most cases, that's not even the case. You get what I'm saying? It's not even the case. But again, we let them slide with it. But um one thing that okay, this is from a personal experience, but one thing that I really don't like is your better half knows how much you do and what you do, but they try to, especially when you're not like in the same page over something, they try to belittle who you are as a mother simply because of how they are feeling for themselves. But they don't understand, I am not your mother, I am this girl's mother. I cannot, I can only be a parent to my child. I cannot be a parent to my spouse. You get what I'm saying? So you cannot tell me if I'm a good or a bad mother. It's for her to tell me if I'm a good or a bad mother. That is how I think. I cannot tell my spouse you're a bad father. I can tell either maybe are you a present father or are you a providing father, but I cannot say if you like I cannot diminish the level of love and care you have for your child because it is only you who knows that. Yes. And I think like most of the time, when probably parents get into an argument and men are usually so quick to do that to women or probably mothers, they're like, oh, because they try to look for areas where they can weaponize, where it will hurt the most. And as a mother, clearly that's your child. Any other thing will just be like, I don't care. But that's your child. And when you try to make it look like you are not at 100 where you really want to be at 1,000, then
You know, I'm hearing what you're sharing because I do speak to many mothers, both online and offline, around the essence of being belittled in their motherhood journey. And I think that's never okay. You know, I think respect is key.
it
There's
is
always,
not okay. Yeah.
it isn't okay. And I think there's always ways to discuss things. And I think it's so important what you mentioned about parents being on the same page. When you're on the same page, it makes things so much more effortless. And then that
Yeah.
child can have that experience of the unification of the parents. So yeah, it's definitely an area that's come up quite a few times. And like I said, both online and offline, because I guess sometimes people are not sure how to communicate it in the way where it's not that I don't love my partner, just that this part actually hurts me. And so
Yeah.
they just remove themselves from discussing it. But I totally understand what you mean. I think it's just the way, it's not what we're talking about, it's the way we go about discussing what burdens our heart and just respect. I think if we can have healthy respect for each other, don't put down each other. You know, you're a team. I think people don't remember that. You know, we're a team raising our extension, our legacy. So one, you know, we win, we all win. So we just need to know how to kind of navigate that space. But no, thank you for sharing that answer. My next question is, what has been the most rewarding aspect of motherhood for you?
Uh, what what has been the most rewarding aspect of motherhood? Oh my God. For me, it's just seeing my child win. Seeing my child winning and successful in whatever she's doing, that just fills me. That fills me. Yeah, because I know there's something that I did right. Yes.
Totally. And you know, the simplicity of that, I love that because, you know, I imagine every mother can relate to that. Your child's in a school play and they're on stage and they're just a leaf and they've got one line and, you know, you're crying, you're clapping. They don't have to do much for you to feel fulfilled about them, you know, just for them to be happy and healthy and thrive, you know, going towards developing who they're becoming. But like you said, just seeing them win, it's just absolutely priceless.
Just
Absolutely.
seeing them win and happy and at peace. That's it. Like, I
Exactly.
know you're winning and you're loving the wins and you're just at peace and you're happy. For me, I know that is what else would I want? What
Yeah,
else?
exactly. Oh, wow, love it. So my next question is, what advice would you give to your younger self before becoming a mother?
Um, huh. I wish, I don't know, what would I say? What would I give to what advice would I give to my younger self before I became a baby mother? I don't know. The most, man. So I don't know.
Like, what advice would you give to someone before
Yeah.
becoming a
But
mom?
yeah.
Or maybe to, Shanariha, what are the things that you learned on your own journey that maybe you want to say to your daughter, be mindful of this before you become
Mm.
one?
I don't know, just probably just create a very positive and strong network around you. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
be
so
it
important.
family, be it friendships, people that you can actually lean on. I'd say that's it for me because probably that's what I lacked, and it's because I was busy navigating life. I lost my parents when I was very young, and it was just me and my brothers and my sisters. Then once all our parents passed away, everybody moved to a whole different direction. So I'd say from the age of 17 years old, I kind of raised myself. I was just trying to figure out life, and I never wanted to feel like, I don't know, it's probably because of trauma of losing parents and all that. I just felt like nobody is permanent in your life. And even with friendships, for me, I was just like treading lightly. Anybody that would come to my life, it was just like treading lightly. So I never formed those deep, deep relationships and deep friendships that maybe now growing up as a mother, I would want to, like, how are you doing it? Whenever you feel like probably breaking down in front of somebody, you have somebody to run to and talk to and all that. Because again, the relationship that I have with my brothers and my sisters is not wired on that particular level, on that. Yeah. So everybody's just living their own life. Yes, we love each other. And when the need comes, we are all there to do whatever needs to be done. But it's not like, hey, we're on the phone daily, or hey, I'm going through this mess in my life, can you give me advice? So that is I usually feel like I'm alone. You get like,
Mm-mm.
yes, like I'm one person who, if I'm facing like a real life issue that I need either a sister or a girlfriend, I don't have that particular anchor in my life. And for her, I would, because again, she's an only child, I would love for her to, as she grows up, she kind of builds, or rather grows, a very strong network around her for people that she can, we can walk together, we can cry together, we can build each other. Yes, that is what I lack. Till today, that is what I lack. Yeah, so I think, and it's not easy. I tell you, it's not easy because I see some of my friends who probably built that when they were growing up, and um, it's a very positive and strong support system, especially probably I'd say here in Africa, where we depend on the community to actually just come and whenever we are having things in life, and the community is always there. So yeah, I would love for her to do that.
You've given such a wholesome answer. There's so much in there for our listeners to unpack and take wisdom from. I cannot agree more. I think it's so important that we have those wholesome relationships. And just as you said, like, I feel alone. So many mothers feel alone in their motherhood journey. And that sister bond, the sisterhood, the village, all of these
Yeah.
aspects are so crucial when we're raising a child. Like, I really believe, the proverb of it takes a village to raise a child. It does, but it also takes a village for mother and father to feel fully supported. Like, who do we call on? And I think you've really exercised some wisdom because you looked at your own journey. If you've lost your parents so young, as a defense mechanism, as a way to protect yourself, you will keep relationships at a distance because you learn at a young age that there's loss, there's major loss. And, you know, if you go for, as a teenager, gosh, like having to deal with that at that time, you're going through relationship changes and phases with your own friendships. So, in essence, you've learned from a very traumatic state to actually people don't stay. People that I love the most, they don't get to stay. And you know, people let me down. So you develop a thicker skin. Like I'll look after me because that's the only way I can protect me. I'm here. I'm my constant. So that really speaks so deeply into the journey of motherhood. It really does, because the loneliness is contextual. You know, we might be out in the world and, you know, we're on the stage, but who do you call? Who really is there for you when you need it? So I'm so glad that you have gone to that level of depth to share, because a lot of mothers will take a lot from that. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
My next question is, how do you balance the emotional weight of being a mother with pursuing your own dreams and aspirations?
For me, it's easy, I'd say, because most of the things that I do in my life, basically either my work or my way of just normal life, they're kind of similar to what my child does. Yeah. Generally, I've been more into the entertainment industry, and in terms of music production and film production and curating festivals and all that. And now, boom, she's an artist. Yeah, so it makes it easier for me to just balance everything out because I'm already in this industry. And also with the advocacy work, when she started doing the SDGs and the environmental advocacy and sustainability, and I was like, okay, this is another thing that I can learn and do it with you, because again, I love public speaking and I love being in spaces where I can network to increase my net worth. And all these things are through probably run in the same village, because even right now we are talking about how can we use music and art to advocate for climate justice and environmental protection. Yeah, so everything just, so for me, I don't think there's any like problem balancing, because they just flow. Yeah, they just flow together. Yeah.
I think that's the secret recipe. I can totally relate, because you know, mums have this notion of work-life balance, and it's not easy for everyone. You know, I do want to highlight that, but I remember going out to work, coming home, and it was a separate life. I was living a separate life to my children. And I love the way you so eloquently spoke about your dreams being entwined with what your child's doing. And that was really the difference that made the difference for myself and other mums that I've met, in that there's no separation. There's a beautiful tapestry that you're fulfilling your dreams in the same alignment of interest. You know, so
Yeah.
you're in the entertainment, your daughter's in entertainment. Obviously, you've authored a book. That's how we met. You're doing the SDGs, you work with the UN, but it's all interwoven. There's no separation. And I think it's really the secret recipe to create some organic balance, because otherwise it's very stressful. I take my hat off to mothers that do have to do separation and come home and balance the home and go out into a completely different world. And the children resent the work sometimes, not always, but sometimes the child ends up resenting the work because they feel like the work's taking the mother away. So it's really nice that you
and yeah, for me, also I'll give credit because maybe I've been lucky in a way that I've never needed to be employed by somebody else. Like all my life, I've just of course, I went to nursing school, which I never practiced, and I stopped there because I was like, this is not my passion. But since that, since probably I'd say 18 or 19 years old, I've always been self-employed. Like I usually call myself a hustler. Everything I've done, like I've never been employed for me to have the commitments of probably waking up in the morning, going to somebody's office and back, because again, you get to be out of the house a lot. And I sometimes I look at my friend, because I have one of my friend whose child is very, very talented in soccer. And the boy is almost the same age as my daughter. The boy is 12, and he's supposed to start training to get into pro, and that requires a lot of time, a lot of presence, and she cannot do this because she has office work and she has other kids. And so I look at that and I'm like, okay, I'm lucky because it's my way of life. And yeah.
I'm so glad you highlighted that. Interestingly enough, last week my son and I attended an event that was hosted at Adidas, and we were talking about this. One of the panelists mentioned that it's a luxury. It really is a blessing because not everyone can actually, because everyone's life is different, can actually do what's needed in order to nurture the natural talents of their children, especially when they have multiple children. It's not easy. And I'm glad that you brought this up, because I often say to parents, don't compare yourself to people, start from where you are. Because it's so long, you don't know their circumstance that frees them up. If you're an entrepreneur and you have the blessing of working from home, then you are your boss. You get to call and you can kind of go along with your children. But if you have a 9 to 5 and you have multiple children, you're doing what you need to do to help your spouse, or if you're a lone parent, to do what you need to do. And that's enough, because I think there's so much pressure on everyone can just get up and do this. It's not for everybody. Not everyone.
It's not for everybody. Yeah.
So I'm really glad you brought that up, because it takes a lot of the anxiety. Because I know a lot of mums, they really beat themselves up not being able to do that for their children. I always say to mums, just celebrate the fact that you can feed them and got a roof over their head. If you could just be there to give them a hug and encourage them, they will find their way. It's not about experiencing their whole life before they're 10. That's not what life's about. We all have, do you understand what I mean? Like, you might go on social media and you're like, oh wow, next millionaire is free, and there's all these social pressures of, oh, my child should be able to spin on their head, do backflips. We all have our different lifestyles. So I'm really glad that you highlighted the difference that you've been able to. It's something that you're really thankful for, but it doesn't mean everyone can. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. Thank you. So my next question is, can you share a lesson that you've learned from a mother figure that shaped how you parent today?
Oh, patience. Patience is everything. For me, patience, I never used to be a patient person. I would, my God, like I've said, basically I raised myself from 17 years old. And from 17 years old, whatever I'd put to my mind, I would go and get it. I don't know about wait tomorrow. Nah. It's happening now. It's happening. Yes, and like I'm such a go-getter, and I've got like a very crazy drive of just making things happen now and then. But with motherhood, I've just come to learn about patience. Number one, these kids grow in steps. They learn in steps. I was a mother that I could not do homework with my child. I'd be like, I've told you 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1, 3. Are you not getting it? There's a meme on Instagram about that, and I was looking at that meme and I was like, this was me. Because I'm like, I went to school like, I don't know, 20 years ago. I still know this. How comes am I telling you like, oh, this plus this is this, and are you not getting it? You get. So, and I will get so frustrated. But I have learned to be patient. I prayed about it because it did not come easy. And with that, it has also taught me how to be patient with other people as well. Because I know I was not a patient person. And now when you're not patient, you don't understand anybody. You do not understand anybody, because I don't understand why you are not like this. So I've just learned to be patient, to take people at their own pace, and to let things flow as much as I'm still a go-getter, but let things flow at their right time. And yes, I've patience.
You shared so much. It's like, as you were sharing, it's just so funny, like my own journey, other mums. It's like, I've just told you that, and it's interesting how
homework used to be whoa, and I'm like, I don't know, like me, I'm an African parent. I don't know. Me, I'm like, I'm teaching you here, and I've got like slippers on top of the chair. If I tell you twice and you're not getting it, the next one is going to your head. So get it so fast.
of my childhood. So I remember teaching my kids, like when we started homeschooling, and they just wasn't listening. And I was just like, okay, we're just going to do hack homeschooling. So I started getting them mentors and going out to events because it just wasn't working. I got them tutors because exactly what you said. You said, like, what's 1+1? And you're looking at the child's looking. But I love what you talk about, those transferable skills, how they actually saturate all areas of our lives. But, you know, hearing your story, I didn't know that about yourself before, but hearing the fact that you had to raise yourself from 17, you had to be a go-getter to survive, to thrive, to attain your dreams. But it's like, as we come into motherhood, we're coming, you see, we have to be a bit harder when we're on our own. But when we come into motherhood, our children will humble us to become softer, to become more present, to become more
crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So we, yeah, there's been a few times and my children used to say to me, Mommy, you're shouting a lot. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Yeah. So, so funny. So many stories. So the next question I have is, how do you define success as a mother?
How you define success? For me, it's not the end goal. It's what I learned. Yeah, for me, it's not an end goal. It's what I learned. And how I look at it is that if I wanted to do, if maybe I want my child to do A, B, C, and D, and she did not manage to achieve that, but in between we learned something and we are still at peace and happy, that's okay for me. Yeah.
I love that. It reminds me of a quote that you either win or you learn, you never lose. I love that. Really beautiful. That it points to that quote as well, as like that it's not about the destination but the journey, because there is so much to learn and sometimes we miss that, only being focused on the end step success. So that's beautiful. Thank you. My next question is, if you could rewrite parts of your motherhood journey, what would it be and why?
What did I say? I don't know, man.
It's hard. Sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes we just like the way it is, but maybe you want to change something.
I don't know. I'm just trying to look at a time that maybe I felt like I've not been sufficient enough as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Sometimes like we look at it in a way that if we change one thing, everything has changed, and this journey has actually grown me. So why would I change anything? So
I don't know why I'm saying this is because I'm usually so quick to change things. So I'm trying to look at a situation where I've been like, okay, this is not working out. Let's do this. I'm usually so quick to like, let's focus on other things. Just leave this. Yeah.
That's it's really important to share those aspects so we understand why we make those decisions. So thank you for sharing that. The next question I've got is, how has societal pressures influenced the way you approach motherhood?
I don't let the society. I do not. If there's one thing that I do not let control how I think and how I do things, it's the society. Why? Is because all these kids are different.
Wow.
All these kids are blessed in their own different ways. All these families, all these homes have got different challenges. So I cannot let the society tell me how to navigate my motherhood. When they don't understand the dynamic within my own house. And again, these societal pressures, what are they based on? Like, is there like a case study somewhere that no, for me, I raise my child in just a way to, like, just the way God guided us. Be respectful, have wisdom, follow the 10 commandments, learn to love your friends, do right by others. and explore your talent and opportunity, period. That's it.
That's so true.
I don't judge people's kids. I don't like it because I don't know what people go through. And the reason I also say this because of probably my own experience, because once we lost our parents, there was so much judgment on how we decided to just live our lives. And they don't understand. We were 5 teenagers in the house, confused. We don't have parents. We don't have a way of life. You don't know what to do with your life next. And the society was not easy on us. And I said, no. Me and society is no. I am my own society.
No, the way you describe that is really important because you talk about perspective, like the facts, the reality, giving context really changes everything. Like you've not just said, oh, society and that's it. You've had your own personal lived experience and you've seen like what judgment can do to a family, 5 teenagers losing both parents at such a young age and then having societal pressures. You had to carve out your own way. You had to raise yourself at 17. So sometimes we are very quick to look on the outside, the surface level. I love what you said about you don't know the dynamics of that household. And had you been in that household, you might have had to make the same choices or similar to what they had to in order just to survive. Sometimes it's not about anything other than just surviving 24 hours to the next 24 hours and then seeing one step at a time.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a really nice way that you've shared that. Thank you. Wow. I look at myself at 17 and the levels of confusion that we have sometimes. So I don't know how you were able to do that. I just don't.
That was me at 17. My older sister was 21. The one that I'm following was 19. And I had 2 brothers behind me, 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. So you can imagine. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a mother of that similar age group. And when you are raising a family, it dawns on you how much they need their parents, how big a role you still play.
My God. Let me just, my prayer to God every single day, Sabrina, I'll tell you, I usually tell God, please allow me to live until my daughter is old, until she has her own family that she can fall back on. Then if you want to take me, you can take me. Do not ever let me leave this earth when my child is still a child, because I went through that. I was 17. I had 2 young brothers behind me. Sabrina, it was crazy. It was crazy. If I start talking about my life, there are days we would wake up, we start looking at each other. We don't have food. We do not have food in the house. These kids are supposed to school. There's no school fees. There's nothing. I don't even like remembering that.
Yeah.
Yes, we are people, and the way the African families are, like we have our uncles and cousins and everybody living around us, but nobody cares. That is why, for me, like my prayer to God is just allow me to be present in this child's life until when she's self-sufficient, because I lack that. I terribly like that.
That prayer you just shared, I've never actually, you sit in this seat, you never prepared for what someone's going to say. But that prayer you prayed is a prayer that I've also prayed, and some other mums. We don't understand how precious parents are. And that prayer of just saying, God, let me be there, just to hand them over to somebody that's going to continue looking after them. Because you see life, you see, no one is ever going to love your child like the mother will. It's just, they might try, but we're only human, we're not perfect, we have our own flaws. And sometimes you hear about what people go through when they have a step parent or cousins or aunts and uncles that take the place, and you hear about the sad journey that a child has had to experience. So I wholeheartedly understand where you're coming from with that prayer, and by God's grace, because so you've done, my hat off to you. Today's the first time I've learned about this aspect of you. So I'm just, I'm in awe. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
My next question is what role has community played in your journey? You touched on it a little bit, but we can go a bit deeper. So what role has community played in your journey, whether it's been a source of strength or something you struggled with?
It has played a very big role, I'm not gonna lie. Why is because, again, because of my journey and probably losing parents easy. And if you realize, even with Shanariha and starting one foundation, we work with a lot of young girls. Like we would have started a foundation where probably we're just working with older or rather young adults and doing them. But I was like, no, 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 no. We need to start empowering young girls and young boys from the word, like from the age 9 onwards.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Let us start creating opportunities for them at that age. Let us not wait for them to be adults in universities and all that. They'll figure it out themselves when they're already there. And it's because I came to realize a lot of time young people are overlooked.
Absolutely.
Why are you overlooked? Because you're a child, because your school fees is getting paid by your parents are providing shelter, clothing, food, school fees and all that. Wait until that day you sleep and wake up in the morning and that parent is not there. Your world shifts and everything becomes a confusion to you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything stops for this particular young child when the parents are not there to do that anymore. And that is the part that people really forget. People live their life as if they're guaranteed of tomorrow. We are not. Have you empowered your child enough to be able to walk and stand alone and still be in that school that she's going to right now, whether you are alive or dead? Yes.
Very, very true. That is so powerful. From the age of 9, boys and girls. I watch it all on social media, what you're doing with the foundation, and to see that it's all come out of a book, it inspires me. It is so amazing to see what you lot are creating, and it's just the beginning. That's the exciting part. It's just the beginning. So let's see what happens as time goes by. But I love that you're building a community as well and pouring into that. It's absolutely gorgeous. Next question that I have for you is, how do you cope with guilt or like mother guilt or mother doubts that come along with motherhood journey?
Um, of course, there are situations where you wish you do better, or maybe you've not done enough, or maybe you missed a few steps or made some error. I I usually look at what did I learn and why did I not achieve what I wanted to achieve? What was the stumbling block? Is it something that is beyond my control? Because again, if it's beyond my control, then there's nothing that I can do about it. But if it's something that I can either change or move my way around it, then I'll figure out a way to make it happen. I don't stay so much on guilt because again, what does guilt help you with?
True, very true.
I'm more of a person who likes looking for solutions.
I like that.
I like looking for solutions. I like partnering and collaborating. I like talking to people who might think like, okay, I'm having this problem. Do you think if we hold hands together, we can do A, B, C, and D? I don't dwell in, I wish I knew. I don't dwell in regrets. I don't. I just, and I train my child to be like that. I'm like, whatever you can do, do it. Whatever is beyond your control, says focus on the next.
Fantastic. So the next question that I have, actually, just to touch on what you mentioned, I think it's so powerful for the listeners and the viewers to touch on this aspect. I think it really is empowering. You spoke about analyzing where you are, what can I actually take control of, what can I learn, and what can I do with this, but instead of allowing the guilt and the doubts to cripple you. And I think that's so empowering. And the fact that you're also teaching your daughter to look at that and collaborative work, I think that's so powerful, because sometimes we don't house all the answers, right? When no one's perfect, no one knows it all. So collaborative work, collaborative support, networks, asking people, I think that is really an excellent approach. And I think if you're listening to this, start looking at your own life and think about, what can I draw wisdom from? Where am I? Like, there's somewhat of a diagnosis, an analysis of where you are right now, and think about like how guilt or doubt sometimes cripples you versus be more solution oriented. I love the way you said that. It's like you look for solutions instead of just allowing yourself to be crippled and to hold you back. It's more empowering to look for the solutions, to look for which ways can I grow? Or sometimes we just have to release and surrender and realize, we're going to lose sometimes. That's okay. But I'll take the wisdom and move forward. So thanks for sharing that. The next question that I have is, what do you wish people understood about the emotional labor of motherhood?
I wish people understood that mothers need a lot of support, a lot of encouragement, and a lot of rest. uh-huh. For real, because
Yeah.
that is the one thing. If you're not there to do it, then you failed.
Yes.
If you don't do it diligently, then you have failed. And again, like I said, nobody will ever question, are you a good father or are you a bad father? Or are you, but people will question like motherhood. Like motherhood is questioned a lot. So long as a man provides and he's present, whether 100% or just even present, people are like, this is good enough for you.
Mm.
As women, we are expected to do a lot. You wake up in the morning, I prepare you for school. I need to figure out when you're at school, when you come back home, what you're gonna eat. Your clothes are done like this. Your emotional sense is correct. Did anybody bother you at school? Talk to me. I'm your therapist. I'm your teacher. I'm your doctor. I'm your caregiver. I am all this.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. Very, very
And
true.
you cannot do it alone.
I
You
love
need a
that.
support. Yeah.
I love the fact that you added the essence that, rest. I think it's so important. Mothers do need rest. They really
That's
have to be
important.
mindful because you're sustaining so many others, not just yourself. And looking at just support and encouragement, like just how are you? Are you okay? A simple good morning goes a long way. How are you feeling? Checking in. Have you eaten? Have you even had a glass of water? Sometimes, a mother could be so busy she forgets to water and feed herself. So I think what you said is so on point. Just pouring into the mothers with support, both physically, spiritually, pray for each other. We need to get back to, praying for our friends, supporting our friends, but checking in. Like speaking on this platform, a lot of the conversations turn towards, do we actually check on each other as mothers? Like we see each other's doing well. We just need to check in with a mother to mother human level. Like, how are you? Are you okay? Are you sleeping well? Like, have you had any sleep? So I think that's so important what you've shared. Thank you. So the next question I have is, excuse me, what legacy do you hope to leave behind for your daughter?
Ah, honestly speaking, where I'm seated, I will just say, like, when my daughter grows older, I would just like her to say, my mom was my friend.
Oh,
And I could count on her for whatever. That's it. I really don't care about what I built for you or where I took you for holiday or what. No, I just want her. I would wish for her to grow older and just realize that I was her friend. I am her friend. I am the person she can go to and know that everything is okay. That's it.
yeah.
That's it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that is really beautiful. Yeah, that's the way you said that is so beautiful. Just like I'm just a friend. Like she can talk to you about anything and everything, the good, the bad, anything. That's beautiful. Thank you. Really beautiful.
Because I know if my mom was alive today, she would have been my best friend. Like, and maybe it comes from a sense of what I'm lacking. But honestly speaking, that will be my greatest gift. If my child believes that I am the friend and I am the go-to person, that's it.
Absolutely. I love that. So beautiful. You just think about, you come out of a meeting, the first person you call is your mom, like to have that relationship with your children priceless, absolutely priceless. My next question is, how has motherhood transformed your relationships, be that with friends, family, your partner? Because, you know, sometimes it's such a sacred shift that we have birthing a child, and sometimes those children come along and heal the family in different ways.
Yeah. I'm saying because of motherhood, I've learned a lot of patience, and patience helps with a lot of understanding, and that has really helped me a lot in my relationships. I never used to be patient with anybody. Let me tell you one thing: if you are my friend, you do me wrong, I drop you like a hot potato. If you're my boyfriend and I just see a small red flag, I am gone. I'm not even giving you a second chance. Like, I was not patient with anything and anybody. It's either it's working or it's not working, and I'm done with you. So I feel like motherhood has really taught me a lot of patience, which I have implied that to my relationships with even my spouse, my even my own siblings and my friends. And that has made me to be a very understanding person, because now I get to look at things on a very different level and try to understand where are you to, why you are the way you are.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely beautiful. The next question I have here is, what's the most unexpected lesson that you've learned from your child?
Hey, that I gave back to myself. She's
Sorry?
as loud as that I gave back to myself. She has a loud mouth like her mama. She's got so much opinions like her mama, and their attitude is like her mama.
So funny. You gave birth to yourself. That is funny. Oh yeah, that's funny. When I've got five, and I loved earlier when you said that all children are different. They are so different. I'm an only child, so when I realized how different children was, I was shocked. I was like, called my mum. I was like, Mum, what's going on?
Yeah.
And but like what you said, you will identify aspects of yourself and your children, and I'm going, oh my gosh, okay.
I know. She
Yeah.
talks and she shakes her head. And when I try, she's like, but mom, are we not doing the same thing?
Oh yeah, they will always remind you of that. And it's what you teach them, they'll use back on you. It's so funny. It is a journey. Motherhood is certainly a journey. So I've got two girls and three boys. So you can imagine what I've had to grow through.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't realize the girls had so much energy. That mouth, oh my gosh.
Oh boy, I was not ready for that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. And with the boys, it's quite funny because boys are it's an interesting dynamics, because as long as they're fed and they've got something to entertain them, they're really calm. But the girls will not let you live it down. It's like, you know, take boys out for a meal, they'll be your best friends. But your daughter's still at the table telling you, no, I'm not happy about this. Oh, wow, brilliant. So the next question I've got is, if you could change one thing about society, sorry, if you could change one thing about how society views or supports mothers, what would it be?
uh, just the judgment aspect. We get a lot of judgment and a lot of backlash when things don't go wrong. I will say this even like on the basis of either as a mother or as a spouse. In many situations, when things don't go right within our households, the woman is the one to be blamed. Oh, you should have been there more, you should have done things different. Oh, your marriage is falling apart. Maybe you should have fixed, you should be more present for your husband. You do what? You should stop being you and just cater to him. Now, as a mother, when something happens to our children, and I know sometimes, like I said, as a mother, every other mother, when you give birth, you hope for the best for your child. You hope she or he will become the most learned, the most intelligent, the most respectable person. But again, they at some age they come to choose their own life and they decide whatever they want to be. But a lot of times, a lot of backlash comes to the mother. I don't know, it's as if we did something wrong or we misdirected them. I don't, it's just a lot of judgment, which I don't like, because for me, parenting is especially if you're living in a household where the other spouse is there, then it's a two adults, like there are two people there parenting, right? And people should also realize that at a certain age, these kids become self-aware and they make their own decisions in life. And that is for them. So long as you've instilled the values that you are supposed to instill, there is no way that you can force them to be a certain kind of human beings when they decide to be. They will just decide to do whatever they want to do. Yours as a parent is just to pray and to love them regardless.
Very true. No, prayer is key. I absolutely agree with that. But I love what you said with regards to our children. They're not a blank canvas. We don't just pour into an empty vessel. They very much come with their own personalities, and that activates as they get older. God has, just like He inserted into each of us, it was all done at childhood. Before we were born, before we were put into our mother's womb. So these children, they have their own blueprint to follow. They really do. And I do believe, we can play a part. Like you said, ultimately the time will come and their personality, their own life assignment, their own, spiritual journey will take place. And that's not, it's sad, it's very true. I often do hear it's the mothers to blame. And, that is such a touching aspect that you've shared. And thank you for sharing that. And my next, sorry, I've got a bit of a cough, sorry. Next question I've got is, what's the most misunderstood part of motherhood journey? What do you think people misunderstand?
That we also have a life. That's it.
Yes, very true.
That we also have a life.
Yeah.
Much as I'm your mother, as much as I'm doing all this, I also have my own life to figure out and live. People act as if when you become a mother, you should forget about yourself and your work is to cater for these kids until they're adults and even after they're adults, they still expect you to be there. No, we have a life.
Well, listeners and viewers, like really tap into that. You have a life too. I think as mothers, that is so deep. You have a life, you have dreams and ambitions, and you're a person. And it really made me think about, this is, as much as it's the first experience for your child, it's the first time you're parenting this child. So you're learning. Be kind to yourself. I've got 5 children, but I'm a mother to 5. I'm not the same mother to each of my children because they have different needs and we have different relationships. So it's carving out some time for you. I love the way you simply put it, is that you have a life. And mums, and I cannot emphasize the wisdom that you've just shared, because the sooner we realize that, the better it is for us in our health, mental health, physical health. I speak to so many women who have gone through motherhood, and some describe it as traumatic. Everyone's journey is different. Some have, they know that because of the trauma they experienced in motherhood, they became quite sick. They did it all on their own and they became quite sick. They felt very alone. They had family and a spouse sometimes, or a single mum, but they described that the impact it had on the nervous system was unfortunately not a good one, because they didn't realize that they had a life too. And when the kids grew up, they were just very confused that, like, who am I now? Like, now that my kids don't need me, like, who am I? What do I do? So I think that sentence, as brief as it was really to the point. And I think listeners and viewers, unpack what it is for you. Really sit down in a sacred space with yourself and God, and just question, like, where are you in your life journey? And think about, like, if I am a person too and I have a life, what does that look like? And what does it currently look like? And what do you want it to look like? So thank you so much for sharing that. Really, really important. Next question is, how has motherhood changed your perspective on yourself and your goals and life in general?
Honestly, I've just realized I'm a very strong person.
Incredibly.
Honestly, motherhood has given me strength, emotional strength that I never knew I had. Um, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot with motherhood, being patient, being understanding, but also it has given me wisdom and strength. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, because I think motherhood is something that you never know how strong you are until you become a mother. And if someone had told you you would have to do this, that, you'd be like, absolutely not. But what you have to deal with and have to shift into, the version that you have to shift into, you never knew that you housed that until you had to be a mother. Because it's the love that you have for them just makes everything possible. Where there's a wall, you create a door. If there's no door, you create a window. So it's just like motherhood transforms everything. So I totally, totally agree. Um, who were you before you became a mum?
Hey, I was a wild child. Woo! I've lived a good life. Let me say that. I was a party girl. I was a party girl. I was a video vixen. Of course, I was a yes. I've studied nursing, but I didn't practice nursing. But I was just like, I was a wild child.
I was a wild child.
I was a wild child. I'm gonna tell you that. I loved partying. I'm not gonna lie. I loved partying. I loved going out, traveling, disco, parties all night, and I was in my friends at that time were like musicians and celebrities, so I was riding in a very fast life. I'd say that like yeah, parties, shows, concerts, traveling all over. So I was crazy.
You were doing your market research for your sister's career, your daughter's career.
Oh, you see?
Oh,
Yeah.
I love the way you answered that. I was a wild child. So my next question is, what did you have to sacrifice for motherhood?
I had to sacrifice that. I knew once I was pregnant, it didn't hit me that I needed to change until probably I was around 6 or 7 months pregnant. I was like, would I really want to do this with my child around? Because again, I knew probably I can give birth and start, partying and all that. But do I really want to be that person? You get, do I really want to be probably drunk every other night or clubs? Then that means I'm not at home. And again, I really wanted to be like a present parent. I wanted to be like whatever my child is going through, I want to be there. If she's experiencing the first laugh, the first smile, what I just want to experience it. Yeah. So that is the I had to give fun, a lot of fun. I won't say fun because I still have fun, but I really had to tone it down a lot.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's beautiful, really
Yeah.
beautiful. So what would you say the gift of motherhood is? What has been the gift of motherhood for you?
I just say fulfillment. I feel fulfilled.
Beautiful.
I feel fulfilled with me having my child.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really nice. Really, really beautiful. So we got some light-hearted questions. You've gone through the kind of deep dive questions. So we've got a couple of trivial questions here. So the first question is, if your daughter was to write a book about you, what would the title be?
Slay mom. Slay mom. All
Oh,
our
bless.
friends call me the slay mama. So anyway, I'm the slay mom.
I love it. Oh, that's so cool. What's the funniest mum fail moment that you've had?
What's the funniest?
Mum fail moment. So a mum fail moment, for example, would be like turning up to school when term hasn't started, you know, forgetting your baby in a shopping trolley. You know, like what have you done that you're sort of like, oh my God, my baby.
I think I almost once got into a fight because of her. There was like there's a boy who was playing sometimes with the girls and threw my daughter, and I went to like, yes, so that would be that.
To remind yourself.
Yes.
He's too young. I can't do anything. He's too young. Oh, excellent. So the next question is, what's your go-to hangout, hideout when you need a break? If you need to just catch your breath, what do you do? Where do you go?
I travel.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
Nice.
I travel for probably 3, 4, 5 days, then I come back.
You come back refreshed and recharged. Brilliant. Next question is, what's the strangest thing that you've ever found in your daughter's backpack or pocket? So my kids used to like pick up like rocks or shells, or my sons used to think it was funny to have insects in their pockets or their backpacks. They know I didn't like them. Yeah.
Apart from her stealing my jewelry, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh gosh, girls always do that. Yeah.
Like she'll steal my rings and then she goes with them to school and she comes back and she forgets they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughters used to do the same. Well, not daughters. The shame will strangle me if I say that, but my younger daughter, she would go to school with the iPad, like technology, and she would take jewelry and perfumes and things. I'm like, where is this? And it'll always be in her backpack. So girls have a tendency to do that. So the next question is, if our community of listeners could support you in 3 transformative ways, what would you ask for?
um, if 3 of my listeners could support me in 3 transformative ways. Number one, I will ask them to get on Spotify and log on to my daughter's Spotify and listen to her music. She's called Shanariha Evans. That's number one. Number two, I'd ask them to buy our book. It's called The Ocean Warrior. You can get it on Amazon. And our listeners, as you're listening, Sabrina is the wonderful woman who's actually published the book. So that's awesome as well. And number three, I would ask them to probably partner with us in our organization, Young Worriors Club. Yes, it's a non-governmental organization that is dedicated to teenagers to learn about environmental advocacy and taking care of the environment. Yeah.
Excellent. So you're going to give us some links and we'll incorporate that in the description so your listeners and viewers can actually get links to go directly to these channels that has been mentioned. Excellent, excellent. Thank you. What's one way that you plan on paying it forward as a result of this conversation? Who do you feel called to help?
Again?
As a result of our conversation today, what's one way that you want to pay it forward? So paying it forward is like an act of kindness to a stranger or someone in your community.
Can you give me an example, maybe?
So sometimes some mums, they felt that they never really checked in on their female friends, so they felt like I'm going to have some deep conversations with other mums. Some mothers said that they would like to go out and mentor young mums to sort of pass on that wisdom to when they were younger, and some words of wisdom that they can actually hand over. Some people are saying they want to mentor, so it's kind of whatever you feel this conversation has somewhat highlighted that you would like to do an act of kindness to.
Yeah, maybe it's more or less like going through the mentorship side, because personally, like I've said it over and over, I feel like I lacked a lot of parental presence because I was orphaned young, and that really affected how I handled relationships and friendships. And I wouldn't wish that for anybody. And probably young girls who might be going through the same, especially young girls, I'd say, because girls really need their mothers, especially when they're going through puberty and adolescence, and even just getting into new relationships with men and all that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so if I can be a go-to person to actually just help you navigate through that, then I am here and I'm very willing to do that.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Next question is, what are you proud of yourself for?
I'm really proud that I'm a go-getter. I don't take no for an answer.
Yeah, that shines in you, definitely. It's amazing, absolutely incredible. You're really driven. What do you want to say sorry to yourself for?
Mm, for a long time, I was very unkind to myself when I was younger. Yeah. And I didn't know how much potential I had in me. And maybe in some areas in my life, I chose paths that I would not wish for any young girl to probably think that is the way to go. Um, had I been a bit probably patient, or I don't know, but again, such is life. I feel at some point in my life I was very unkind to myself. Yeah. And looking back right now, I wish I knew the value back then. Right now I know. I wish I knew the value and how much potential I had. Probably I would have navigated life at that particular time differently.
It's beautiful. It's nice that you've apologized to yourself for not being kind to yourself. What do you need to forgive yourself for? We can be sorry, but maybe there's something we need to forgive ourselves for, because sometimes we end up beating ourselves up and that's never helpful.
I don't know how to put it, but I'd say being unworthy, like feeling unworthy. I don't know how to say it. I really undervalued myself at some point in life. You know, that was so. It's a very dark period in my life.
So you just want to forgive yourself for feeling unworthy.
Everything that went through at that particular time. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful. And it takes a lot of courage to go through this level of questioning. So thank you. Next question I have is, what do you want to thank yourself for?
I'm a very resilient person. Like nothing puts me down. Nothing. Like when I say nothing, it's there's no circumstance, there's nothing that can happen for me that will make me think, give up. There's no way forward. Like I'm a very, very resilient person. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I know that is one thing that I really thank myself for. I
That's
am so resilient.
incredibly so. I've learned a lot about you in this conversation. Thank you. And my final question is, what are you willing to let go of and heal from as a result of this conversation? What do you need to just release? Like just leave it in this conversation. No, don't allow it to burden you anymore. What do you need to release so you can heal from it?
I need to release a lot of pain, especially from my dad. And why I say my dad is because I believe we were orphaned because of him, because of his reckless lifestyle that led to his death and later the death of my mom. So I believe because, and for the longest time, I really, really hated me. That it's only recently that I'm coming to terms to even just be able to talk about it. I could not talk about him. I would like even just think about him and start crying because my mom was such a nice woman. She was saved, like she had received Jesus Christ, she was in the church choir, she was so naive and so, but my dad was the life of the party and all that, and things happened, and yeah, but because of that, I held a lot of pain towards him, and it's something that I've even had to go to counseling for. because it also affected my relationship with men. I can say that. It's something that I'm still healing, but it's something that I know it will take time. But every single day, I ask God to give me the power to actually just completely heal so that I can start looking at him differently, even if as much as he's dead, look at him differently and all the good things that he did for us. And subsequently also look at men in a different way, in a different way.
You know, connecting with you today has left me in awe. You know, we've had so many conversations, and, you know, I see this powerful, courageous, driven mother. And I feel really honored that you felt that you could express and share your journey of motherhood and your journey as a young lady. I cannot thank you enough for everything you've shared. I thank you for the person you became. I thank you for not giving up on yourself. I thank you for all your smile. You're always smiling and happy and positive. Like, I really thank you for having the courage to take the seat, to just realize that there's some pains and hurts that you need to release and let go. And I'm super excited for what the future holds. Like, I'm looking at you going, oh my God, wow. Like, for me to learn this about you now, there's so many things I'm learning brand new. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just in awe, and I want to commend you from one mother to another for what you've done in order not to give up on yourself, so you can be a shining light for so many others, nations, may I say. You know, your work is international, and you and your daughter are trailblazing in, you know, in entertainment, in you know, foundations and grassroots and community work and SDGs, working with the UN and authorship, and, you know, the list goes on. And it all goes down to you being a young lady that never gave up on who you was. And every step of the way, you started to dig deeper. And I want to thank you for that. So is there anything you wanted to say in closing? Any message you want to leave for the listeners?
I just thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on this podcast. It's been lovely. It's been very therapeutic, I'd say. Yeah, it's been so therapeutic. Thank you so much for having me. And for the listeners, I hope we connect on any level. And any questions probably somebody will want to ask through you, you can just direct me and I'll give the answers maybe later. Yeah. In the meantime, I would want the listeners to either support my daughter. She's an artist called Shanariha Evans. Her music is on Spotify, Apple Music. You can get it. And we have a book about ocean conservancy and protection. It's called The Ocean Warrior. You can get it on Amazon. And we have a foundation called the Young Worriors Club. It's a youth-led organization that fosters for climate change and environmental protection. We are at www.youngwarriorsclub.org. You can check us there and you can get all the information and connect. Thank you.
Excellent, inspirational. Listeners, let's turn words into actions. If you've been moved by today's story, think about how you can offer some support, no matter how big or small, whether it's through a kind message, shared resources, or connecting with our guest. Let's build a community that uplifts and empowers each other. Thank you for tuning in to the Unheard Cries of a Mother podcast. Your story matters, and together we can create a ripple effect of understanding, support, and transformation. If today's conversation resonates with you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, as mothers, we're stronger together. Until next time, let's keep uplifting each other and turning unheard cries into powerful voices. Thank you so much.
Thank you.